Yo everyone, this is Zeitgeese, and today I'm going to run you through some advanced MIDI tricks to add LFOs to your OPXY, to randomize your OPXY, and to generally just do some weird stuff with the OPXY. Uh, these techniques require a MIDI loop-back cable, so you're going to need just a regular old TRS stereo audio cable. TRS means that you have both, or you have three little gold bands on here, which is stereo signal. So the basic concept here is that we are going to plug the OPXY into itself, where the MIDI out is plugged into the MIDI in, and then we will use MIDI devices to sequence, add LFOs, and to randomize other tracks and other aspects. This gives us the ability to add LFOs to tracks. It gives us the ability to add step param locks to the mixer, adds the ability to modulate the filter, all kinds of really fun stuff. So let's get started. Before we start, let's see, I'm going to turn this little zoom in here for you on. So before you start, I just have a blank project here, nothing's on it. We need to set up a few MIDI options in the COM section here. So go to COM, go to System, and scroll down to MIDI. We want to make sure that the clock is off. Oh, wrong one. Clock is off. Notes are set to both. Other is set to both. Active track, it doesn't really matter. And make sure the echo is on. So what these do, clock is basically saying, like, you know, are we receiving clock messages? Are we sending clock messages, or are we doing both? If you have it set to both, what happens is the OPXY gets stuck in sort of an infinite loop where it is receiving its own clock, and it gets confused really quick. So just go ahead and set that to off. Notes, it's whether it's receiving or sending notes, which we want it to be doing, and we also want it to be sending and receiving other, which is pitch bend and MIDI CC and all of that kind of stuff. So make sure all that's set up, and we should be ready to go. Let's see. So to start, I want to show you just how we can modulate track volume, and we will add an LFO to that track volume. So we're already on track 5. Let's just add an F note there. Make sure our metronome is turned off. And you'll see that's pretty boring, right? But we're going to modulate this guy, so we'll just stop it for now. And we're going to take our MIDI cable. We're going to plug it from the output into the input here. And those are the two middle plugs here. This is audio out. These are MIDI in and out, and the bottom one here is audio in. Kind of a funky organization, but that's how it is. So let's go over to our second group of tracks, and we're just going to go to the MIDI track here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add a LFO to the track volume. So I should show you guys this really quick. If you go to the Teenage Engineering website, the guide for the OPXY has a section that shows you MIDI parameters and CC commands to control those. We want to control track volume, so that is CC number 7 on any channel. So if you send a value of 90 on CC7 to channel 1, that is going to turn track 1 down by about 2/3. If you do it on channel 2, it'll be track 2, and so on and so forth. So let's give it a shot. So what we want to do here is we've switched over to our MIDI track, which is number 3 on 1 to 8. We're going to set our channel to 5 because that is the track that has our single note. Then we want to go to page 2 here, and we're going to add a MIDI CC. So we want to do CC7, so we hold shift and you click down to turn it on. Oh, that's not the other thing. You just hit shift and turn it until we get to 7. Sorry, my thing's all grainy. I need to get a better camera, but whatever. And then we're going to set this to just about 73, which is just right in the middle there. Yeah, that's fine. So you can see while we're playing, if I turn it up, the volume goes up. If I turn it down, the volume goes down. So we're already controlling the volume, but what we want to do now is add an LFO to that. So we'll put it right in the middle here. Go to the LFO page and turn it on. We need to, let's just change the speed to, let's just make it 16th notes for now. There we go. And we'll just turn the volume down a little bit, and then there you go. So the LFO is going to 16th, it's turning it down. We can also turn it up, but we're gonna go down. And you can actually see this in action, which is pretty cool. If you go to our mixer channel, you can see it's going crazy. Just whoa, 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 whoa. Pretty cool. So let's spice this up a little bit. Let's just make this note a little bit shorter. Yeah, there we go. We'll add another one in here. Yeah. There we go. Kind of fun. Now let's add some drums in here. Let's see. There we go. Add some. Yeah, let's just do. Some stuff in there. Let's add some bass, because the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to kind of do like a faux sidechain effect by adding an LFO to the filter. So let's get some bass in here. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just use the basic. Cool. All right, that should be good just to get us going here. Well, actually, let's get some keys in here too. Yeah. Good. Let's randomize a little bit by just adding let's see, we'll add a little third up, and we'll just make it do it every 2 components. There we go. That's good enough. All right, so I'll turn this down a little bit so you can hear me talk. What we want to do now is we're going to modulate this guy just to get a little bit of a sort of a bouncy sidechain effect and see what kind of weird sounds we can get going. So what we want to do is we're going to add another MIDI device, because we've kind of run out of things we can do with that one. So on track 8, there we go. We're just going to add a MIDI device. And again, if we look at this this thing here, we can see that the EQ is CC90 on channel 1 through 4, range 0 to 127. Here's one thing, I'm not a huge fan of the way they implemented this, but you know, I can't change it. The problem here is that basically the way it's working, I'll just move this out of the way for you. There we go, so you can kind of see both. So if you send CC90 to channel 1, it's the same as turning. It's the same as turning this first knob here. Channel 2 is the same as turning this knob here. Channel 3 is the same as turning this one, and 4. So you have to actually have a MIDI device for each of those. It'd be cool if instead each of these were just a different CC, and then you could do this all with a single device, but we can't, so we got to kind of eat some tracks up here. So what we want to do here is we're on track 8, and first I want to just affect the highs. So on track 8, we've added a MIDI device, and we want to set that to 3, because that's going to be our third knob. And then we need to, another thing I dislike is that it just defaults with things in here. So clear all that out. There we go. Now we want to enable this first one, and we want to set it to 90, like I said, CC 90. There we go. And we're going to turn it up, just the regular amount there. That's great. So if we go back, we can see that's where we've turned it to. Go back, and now we want to just add another LFO. When you go first to add an LFO, you see not available, which makes you think that you can't do LFOs, but it's just that the default tremolo device isn't available. So turn it down to value. We're going to add that. There we go. And we're going to do, this is good. We're going to turn that up just a little bit, and then we just need to set CC number 1 as the target. So this LFO is going to CC1, and that is going through the MIDI loop over to this guy. And you can see it's already going. So we would play. Just a subtle little effect. Now let's get real crazy. Let's add one to the middle here. Basically, you want to do this. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So shift 1. Let's add ourselves a MIDI device. Clear all this stuff out that just don't know where it comes from. It's different every time. It's very strange. We're going to do knob number 2, so that's channel 2. And then we need to set this, hold down shift and turn to get this to 90. There we go. Is that 90? There, that's 90. My old eyes. So we're going to set this guy to 65 is fine. Let's add an LFO to it. And this one, let's make it be a little bit different, a different speed so we can get some nice polyrhythms going. There we go. Let's turn it down, and then there we go. So that's kind of fun. So now if we go back to our EQ page, you can kind of see that it's jumping around. Those polyrhythms are happening. Super fun stuff, right? Now, let's say instead of doing an LFO, we want to just manually modulate these things. That's totally, you can get some really interesting things going with that. So let's go back to our track. Again, this one's doing the highs, this one's doing the mids. We're going to turn our LFO off. And we'll see, it just kind of freezes there. We want to set this guy to, let's set it to 4 bars long. There we go. And what we can do is just add keyframes in, or steps. I call them keyframes. I'm an animator, so I kind of mix those terms sometimes. Let's go ahead and set it to where on step 1, we're almost all the way down. Let's have it come up, kind of have it come all the way up on the first bar here. Yeah, and then over here we'll have it just drop back down. There you go. So we play, goes up, up, and then down. Now you notice it just jumps. That's because our interpolation right now is just set to stepped. So if you hold bar and turn this third knob, you'll see this little shape guy will turn. And now you can see, and if we go over to our page here, it goes up. Yeah, so we could get really weird with it, you know. If we wanted, we could add a Another little jump here where it goes down really quick. Comes up, down, up, down. Yeah, and you can kind of get some really interesting polyrhythms here. Also, if you wanted, if you're not a step sequencer person, you can just hold record and just twist this knob until it kind of gets into the vibe that you're feeling. That's a perfectly acceptable way to do it. It'll record it nice. I will suggest like making sure that your shape is set, because if you set it to this, it kind of just jumps around a lot. But that might be the sound you're going for. You never know. Yeah, so now we have kind of a pretty cool like vibey sort of thing. So now I want to show you let's get super weird with it really quick. We are going to randomize some patterns here. So we're going to take the keys here, and we're just going to create a couple new tracks here. Let's do, no, 4 is good. Yeah, 4 is exactly good. So, I always forget which key it is. Oh, that's the wrong one. I did it on the wrong track. My bad. Let's delete these guys. Meant to do it on the keys. There we go. Let's go to track 4. We're going to add 4 new things here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to add 4 different patterns, and then we are going to have the OPXY sequence itself to randomize those patterns every bar. So this first one, we like that. That's good. Let's just make this one. That's fine. A little off there. All right, get 4 little patterns here. That's good. There we go. Let's add another step to this one just to keep it interesting. There we go. So we have our 4 patterns here. Now here's another, I don't mean to make this about all of my beefs with the way the sequencer or the MIDI is implemented, but if we go back to this page, we should see here it says scene CC 85, any channel 0 to 127. So this means that if you send on CC number 85, if you send, I'm going to stop this for a second. If you send a 0, it's going to set the scene to 1. If you send a 1, it's going to set the scene to 2. They're off by 1 because of some silly programmer stuff. But if you send a 4, it's going to set the scene to 5, and so on and so forth. So it changes the scene based on what the CC value that it's getting is. So we're setting up 4 scenes here, and 1 for each of these patterns, and then we're going to send random values every bar to change that scene. I really wish, and if anybody from Teenage Engineering is listening, please, it'd be so cool if you made a CC that would just change the pattern on a track, as opposed to having to change an entire scene. Because this gets a little, you have to be very careful here. It can get messy the other way. So what we have here is we have scene 1 has got pattern 1 on it. Let's go to scene 2. Let's set pattern 2 on it. Scene 3, pattern 3, and scene 4, pattern 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. What we're going to do is we're going to take track 6 here. Let's add a MIDI device to it. There we go. And we are going to set this. Let's bring that back up again just so we can see it. It is CC 85 is what we're looking for. So let's remove all these guys. There we go. And we're going to set this guy to CC 85. And one other thing that we should do is we need to set the target of this to just a blank track, because we're going to add some notes in, and we don't want those notes to actually be played. We're just kind of using them as placeholders. So let's just set it to track. I usually just do 16, which is the effects track there. That's fine. Because on CC 85, it doesn't matter what track it is. So you could also theoretically mix this in if you wanted with one of these filter tracks. You could just add, because you can add multiple CC controls. You could do it on CC. You could add the 85 to one of these guys, but for the sake of simplicity, so you guys can see what's happening here, we're just going to do it on track 6, 16, and then CC 85. So right now it's 0, and if we go over here, that means it's 1. Now watch this. If we set this to 1, and then go back to our sequencer here, we are now on sequence 2. So what we want to do here is we're just going to we're going to make our bar length only 4 steps long. On the first one, we're going to set it to 0. On the second one, we're going to set it to 1, 2, and then 3. So our bar is 4 steps long. Each step is on a different pattern in the sequence. And if we go over here and just press play, you can see it's changing like crazy. It's pretty wild. So what we're going to do is now we're going to randomize this using step components. First, we don't want it to change so quickly. We only want it to change every bar. There's a couple of ways we could do this. For this is pretty simple, so we can just change our track length to 16, which means that every step is a bar long. So now pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Now we're going to hold shift to add some step components to all 4 of these. We're going to add a jump component, and we're going to jump to a random step. So now it'll play 1 bar of a pattern and then jump to another one randomly. There it goes. Back to 3. All right, going to 1 now. Pretty cool. So let's make it just a little crazier. One cool thing about, one of my favorite things about the way that the arranger works is that each track can have multiple patterns, and each of those patterns can change things about that track. You can completely change the instrument out, you can do anything. So what we can do here is, say we are in track 1, we have these 2 here, which again are modulating the track volume, well, not the track volume, but they're modulating our filter and stuff like that. So what we can do is we can now copy these. Let's copy, oh, that one didn't seem like it was doing it. What's going on there? Huh? What's the deal with that? Oh, I accidentally turned it off at some point. There it is. Yeah, now it's going. Oh, that's right. We added keyframes. That's the reason I turned it off. So let's go back. We'll just turn that off for now. So what we can do is, since we're randomizing our patterns, we can just take this guy, copy, paste. Oh, sorry. Copy. It won't let you copy unless you have a keyframe on it. That's right. There we go. Copy and paste that a few times. We're going to remove the keyframes now. We're just doing that so we can get it to copy. Shift 1, Shift 2, make that pattern 2, pattern 3, and pattern 4. And what we're going to do is just have it to where the modulation changes on in each pattern. And then when it randomizes the pattern, it will then change from one modulation to another. So this first one here has some keyframes on it. This one, don't want that. This one, we're going to clear the params to get rid of those keyframes. and we're just going to turn on that modulator here. So now we're modulating that guy on 2. We're going to do the same thing here. So let's clear those param locks. And let's turn that on. And let's make this one like, just to be really dramatic, we'll make it 16th notes. So you can see now it's going faster on that one. And then on our 3rd one here, or 4th one, I mean, let's go back to the track. We're just gonna clear those params, turn that off, turn that on, and let's make this one, we'll make it really slow. And we'll make it go up instead of down. So yeah, there you go. You see it's kind of slowly jumping around, which is fun. So now, as we play, yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So yeah, that gives you an idea of sort of some of the things that you can do. Let's see, delete a bunch of those. It gives you an idea of some of the things that you can do with this MIDI loopback. The possibilities are pretty endless because you can have it sequencing other tracks. You can have it sequencing the pan, the volume of a track, basically anything you want, which is really, really cool. We can add LFOs, you can add param locks and all kinds of fun stuff. Really opens up the ability to like automate some of these things that we previously didn't have a way to automate. Pretty cool. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I will try to answer them the best I can. And hope you all have a really good day.